After completing his job change quest, Jinwoo, drained and resting, received a call from his sister about her parent-teacher conference. Before going to school, he visited the bank to manage his now improved finances from dungeon and quest rewards. Jinwoo arrived at school and met Gina's homeroom teacher. The teacher asked for his opinion on what he would do if Gina were to awaken as a hunter. Without hesitation, Jinwoo firmly stated that he would never allow his sister to become one. The conversation then shifted to one of Gina's friends, Song Yi, whose potential as a future hunter had raised some concerns. Sensing that Jinwoo had deeper insight into the hunter world, the teacher sought his guidance. Later, Jinwoo encountered Song Yi, an E-rank hunter he and Jinho had previously recruited, who also happened to be one of Gina's classmates. Song Yi, undeterred by the risks, tells Jinwoo she won't quit being a hunter. Respecting her resolve, Jinwoo invites her to join him. Wang Dongsu returns to Korea, intent on killing Jinwoo and Jinho. At the airport, he's met by Woo Jinchul, who remains composed despite Wang's provocation. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and Song Yi arrived at AC Rank Gate, where they met An Sangmin and Yun. Thanks to a favor from An, they were allowed to join a White Tiger Guild raid intended for training new hunters. The team included an A-rank hunter, Kim Chul, who immediately showed disdain for the two E ranks, seeing them as burdens. Jinwoo brought Song Yi along to expose her to the harsh realities of being a hunter. As he observed the powerful team, he began to wonder if the raid might be too easy. However, the situation took a drastic turn when the gate suddenly transformed into a red gate. Kim Chul quickly confirmed the worst. The gate had turned red, cutting them off from the outside world and leaving only one way out, defeating the dungeon's boss. Before the shock could fully settle, two projectiles shot out from the dense forest at terrifying speed. The first ice arrow pierced through a C-rank hunter's face, killing him instantly. The second was aimed directly at Song Yi, but Jinwoo effortlessly caught it midair. Their attackers then revealed themselves, two ice elves perched atop the trees, their glowing eyes full of malice. Amused by the hunters' reactions, the elves briefly mocked them before vanishing back into the forest, leaving behind only the corpse of their first victim as a grim warning. The message was clear: the hunt had only just begun. Song Yi, still shaken, struggled to process the terrifying turn of events. With all communication to the outside world severed, Kim Chul assumed command, asserting his authority as the highest-ranking hunter present. He warned the group that the dungeon boss would likely be at least B rank, making survival extremely difficult. Acknowledging that he couldn't protect everyone, he decided to split the team. The stronger hunters would follow him to hunt the boss, while the weaker ones would be left to fend for themselves. In a surprising move, B-rank hunter Park Heejin chose to stay with the weaker group. Before the teams separated, Heejin privately approached Jinwoo, noting that Kim had failed to notice the earlier ice arrow and directly questioned whether Jinwoo was truly an E rank. With that, the two groups headed in opposite directions, Kim leading his team toward a clearing in search of the dungeon boss, while Jinwoo took charge of the weaker group, guiding them deeper into the forest. Meanwhile, within the deadly red gate, Jinwoo opened his inventory and handed out coats to everyone, assuring them that he would protect them as long as they agreed not to ask him any questions. As they continued their journey, the group encountered a massive ice bear. Park Heejin instinctively prepared to assist, but Jinwoo raised a hand, signaling her to stay back. The ice bear let out a deafening roar and charged at Jinwoo. As it lunged, Jinwoo jumped and, with a single powerful punch to the head, brought the towering beast down instantly. The other hunters stared in absolute disbelief. Later, the group rested around a campfire, warming themselves and eating freshly roasted ice bear meat. Jinwoo joined the meal but seemed distracted. After finishing, he quietly stepped away to begin a personal training session. Moments later, glowing eyes emerged from the darkness. Jinwoo smirked as dozens of ice bears began to step out of the cave. Jinwoo summoned his shadow soldiers for their first real battle, the dark forms rising from the ground like living nightmares. As the first wave of ice bears charged, the mages released bursts of flame, scorching the beasts' thick hides and drawing agonized roars. Then, from the heart of the blizzard, a colossal ice bear emerged, their alpha. Letting out a blood-curdling roar, the alpha lunged forward with terrifying speed. From the shadows, Igris stepped out, gripping his crimson longsword. As the alpha charged, Igris stood firm. With one decisive motion, he raised his sword and beheaded the alpha in a single strike. Jinwoo raised his hand, and with a pulse of shadow energy, the fallen Alpha and the rest of the Ice Bears were reborn, now part of his growing shadow army. Beyond the Red Gate, in the real world, Baek Yeonho checked his watch. Among the group, Wang Dongsu stood with his arms crossed, his sharp gaze fixed on the swirling portal. To him, Sung Jin-Woo was already dead. He made a casual remark, suggesting that Jinwoo's fate was sealed the moment he entered, and that it was time to move on. Dongsu declared he would return to America, as there was nothing more to see here. However, An Sangmin spoke up, reminding Dongsu that Sung Jin-Woo was an acquaintance of his, someone worth waiting for. This triggered something in Dongsu. In a blur of motion, he grabbed An Sangmin by the throat and lifted him into the air. Baek Yeonho quickly intervened, placing a hand on Dongsu's wrist. A powerful aura began to radiate from both men, thick and suffocating. Kim Chul's team is overwhelmed by ice elves. As his squad falls, Kim Chul, disgraced and alone, runs from the battle. Back in the real world, as Baek Yeonho and Wang Dongsu come to blows outside the Red Gate, Woo Jinchul steps in, stopping them with ease and defusing the situation. Wang Dongsu, having lost interest in waiting, walks away, focused only on the hunt he came for. Meanwhile, Kim Chul finds the weaker hunters safe and relaxed, sparking fury over his own team's demise. But before he can lash out, Jinwoo strikes, sending him flying. At that moment, Jinwoo's instincts flared. From the shadows of the blizzard, ice elves began to emerge. Their leader stepped forward, his sharp gaze sweeping over the low-ranked hunters with cold amusement. One of the leader's elite warriors stepped forward, eager to challenge the intruder, a duel. Without hesitation, Jinwoo decapitates the ice elf in an instant, ending the duel before it begins. Jinwoo then attacks Baruka with lightning speed, but the ice elf leader easily blocks the strike, revealing his formidable strength. Baruka prepares for battle, drawing a curved dagger as his warhorse waits silently behind him. As Baruka mocks him, Jinwoo summons his shadow soldiers. With a smirk, he unleashes them, and the battle descends into chaos. Jinwoo stands calmly as Baruka approaches, exuding the aura of a deadly predator. Amidst the chaos, Kim Chul's eyes snapped open. Fueled by rage, Kim Chul attempts to strike Jinwoo from behind, but Igris materializes just in time, leaving Kim Chul stunned and motionless. After Kim Chul falls, his soul resists being resurrected, but Jinwoo successfully reanimates him as a shadow soldier, naming the new entity, Iron. As Baruka cuts through Jinwoo's shadow soldiers, Iron steps in, forcing Baruka to engage. Just as Baruka prepares to strike, a massive shield blocks his attack. As Iron swings a massive hammer at Baruka, Jinwoo and Igris arrive just as Baruka dodges. Despite the pressure, Baruka smirks, ready for the challenge. Igris attacks Baruka, who dodges with quick reflexes, but Jinwoo catches him off guard, piercing Baruka's shoulder. Baruka is briefly paralyzed by black energy, but his high resistance causes the effect to wear off quickly. Baruka realizes his ice elf warriors have been defeated by one of Jinwoo's shadows, leaving him feeling uneasy for the first time. Before Baruka could react, Iron captures him as the mages prepare a massive fireball. Baruka struggles, but Iron holds him tight as the fireball crashes down, engulfing them both in flames. Despite the fireball, Baruka survives. Jinwoo, using stealth, strikes Baruka with a lethal blow, but Baruka refuses to die. Baruka, defiant to the end, is crushed by Iron's hammer. The battle ends, and the surviving hunters celebrate their victory. The Red Gate shimmered, its ominous crimson glow fading as its surface shifted back to blue. Outside, Baek Yeonho and manager An watched in anticipation. Figures began to emerge, and Yeonho initially expected to see Kim Chul leading his team to safety. However, the first man to step out wasn't Kim Chul, it was Sung Jin-Woo. The other survivors followed, their faces weary but filled with relief. Yeonho scanned their faces, searching for any sign of the A-rank hunter and his team. Jinwoo met his gaze, his expression unreadable. Without hesitation, Yeonho stepped forward, demanding answers. Yet, Jinwoo remained composed, unwavering. His words were deliberate, measured. No explanation, no excuse. Instead, he simply pointed to the hunters behind him, the ones who had survived. Rather than dwelling on the dead, Yeonho realized he should be grateful for those who had survived. He exhaled, the weight of his responsibility settling and the tension easing. In a rare moment of humility, he acknowledged his misjudgment. Jinwoo turned away, his task complete. As they walked away, Yonho clenched his fists, his mind racing. This man, Sung Jin-Woo, was unlike any hunter he had ever encountered. He turned to On, giving the order to recruit Jinwoo at any cost. The next day, Jinwoo and Jinho cleared a dungeon together, efficiently collecting its magic crystals. Meanwhile, deep within another dungeon, a man named Sung Il-won confronted another figure. Around them, the man's comrades lay unconscious, though Il-won assured him they were merely incapacitated. Calmly but firmly, Il-won expressed his desire to return home. Meanwhile, Jinwoo and Jinho visited a restaurant to celebrate. Jinwoo was pleased, they had completed all 19 quests. Jinho mentioned he would now focus on obtaining his guild master's license. With that license in hand, he planned to use it as leverage in negotiations with his father, Myungin. Jinwoo told Jinho he needed to head somewhere private. But then, Jinho expressed a heartfelt wish that Jinwoo was his brother. Jinwoo paused, then smiled and replied that he would be his brother. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Sung Il-won was imprisoned. Two men discussed his situation, revealing their reason for detaining him. There was a possibility he wasn't entirely human, that he might be a humanoid beast. The two men confirmed they had reported Il-won's case to Dong-soo and agreed to resume the investigation once Dong-soo returned. Meanwhile, Jinwoo returned to the demon's castle, the same place where he had previously battled Cerberus. Using his key, he entered the area and received a new quest notification from the player log. He was tasked with collecting 10,000 demon souls. At the same time, Jinho met with his father, Myungin, and boldly requested control of the Yujin Guild. Myungin agreed, on one condition. Jinho had to recruit Sung Jin-Woo into the guild. Jinho accepted his father's condition, fully understanding what was at stake. Meanwhile, Jinwoo continued his assault through the demon's castle, defeating wave after wave of demons. However, he found himself unable to extract their shadows. As he progressed, the player log granted him an entry permit, allowing access to the second floor of the castle. There, Jinwoo summoned the ice bear boss he had previously defeated. Mounting the creature, he spotted a group of demons ahead. Together, Jinwoo and the ice bear charged into battle. After the clash, he gave his new companion a name, Tank. Jinwoo successfully gathered all 10,000 demon souls. With the quest requirements met, he advanced to face the Lord of the Lower Floors, avaricious Vulcan, and his army. Drawing upon his immense strength and the power of his shadow soldiers, Jinwoo overwhelmed Vulcan and secured a decisive victory. At the same time, Dong-soo interrogated Sung Il-won. Calm but resolute, Il-won warned that a force even more dangerous than dungeons, gates, or magic beasts was on the horizon. He insisted that his goal was to stop that threat before it could emerge. Il-won warned that humanity was powerless against the looming force and, in a rare moment of vulnerability, revealed his son's name to Dong-soo. Sensing Dong-soo's murderous intent, Il-won prepared for battle, and the two clashed violently. Elsewhere, as Jinwoo defeated Metis, the Guide of Souls, firefighters worked to clear debris from a city street, the aftermath of the fierce battle between Dong-soo and Il-won. One of the responders confirmed the shocking outcome. Il-won had defeated Dong-soo. Meanwhile, Jinwoo reflected on his progress through the demon castle's 75th floor. He now possessed 2 of the 3 ingredients needed to create the elixir of life. Determined, he set off once more, vowing to obtain the final materials soon. Jinwoo reflected on his current predicament. Despite his immense growth, his official rank still held him back. To join higher-level raids and truly test his strength, he knew he had to raise his rank. Determined, he made the decision to undergo a hunter rank reassessment. At the Hunter Association's reassessment center, Yun was busy scouting for talented hunters. Upon spotting Jinwoo, he quickly called Baek Yonho to inform him of Jinwoo's unexpected visit. A staff member escorted Jinwoo to the waiting area, where 2 nearby hunters casually discussed the reassessment process. Moments later, Jinwoo was called in and stepped into the reassessment chamber, ready to reveal his true power. During Jinwoo's reassessment, a female association worker ran into technical difficulties. Alarms blared, and the system failed to produce a reading. Another worker rushed in to investigate. After assessing the situation, he informed her that Jinwoo was completely inaccessible. His magic power exceeded the machine's capacity to measure. Stunned, he concluded that Jinwoo had achieved an S rank, making him the 10th person in the country to reach that level. Meanwhile, Choi and Woo discussed the recent Red Gate incident. Choi expressed his growing curiosity about the outsider who had participated in the raid, Sung Jin-Woo. However, Woo admitted he didn't have all the details, hinting at just how mysterious and untraceable Jinwoo had become. Choi and Woo heard a commotion coming from the lobby and made their way over to investigate. As they arrived, they found the area buzzing with whispers. Everyone was talking about Jinwoo. A staff member approached Jinwoo, explaining that the reassessment machine had malfunctioned and requested that he return in 3 days to try again. Just then, Choi and Woo entered the lobby. Choi greeted Jinwoo and attempted to strike up a conversation about guilds, clearly interested in recruiting him. But Jinwoo, ever focused, politely declined, stating he was busy, and left. Moments later, Baek Yeonho arrived. As Yun filled him in on the situation, Choi watched closely and quickly realized Baek wasn't just there to observe. He had come with the clear intention of speaking to Jinwoo. Choi suspected that Jinwoo was the outsider who had cleared the Red Gate, his suspicions growing stronger. Meanwhile, Jinwoo visited his mother in the hospital, checking on her before exiting her room. Outside, he spotted Woo, who introduced him to a man named Go. Go wasted no time in congratulating Jinwoo on achieving S rank, stating that the machine wasn't needed to see Jinwoo had earned it. Go extended an offer for Jinwoo to join his association, suggesting that Jinwoo's involvement with one of the 5 major guilds would disrupt the balance of power in the hunting world. Despite the tempting offer, Jinwoo declined, expressing his desire to continue battling magic beasts in dungeons. Go understood and let Jinwoo leave, recognizing his unwavering dedication. Meanwhile, in the hospital, a deputy chief visited Dong-soo to discuss the situation with Il-won. The chief asked directly if Il-won was a magic beast. Dong-soo firmly believed he was, asserting that Il-won was indeed a magic beast. The chief, however, seemed less certain, noting that people were actively searching for Il-won, but he doubted they would catch him. After a brief exchange, the chief left, leaving Dong-soo to reflect on their intense battle. Dong-soo recalled Il-won's warning, "Don't mess with my family." His desire to retrieve powerful artifacts grew stronger, knowing that he would need an artifact to combat Il-won's overwhelming power. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was at his computer, researching artifacts. Determined to prepare himself for the challenges ahead, especially with the demon's castle looming, he knew he needed flawless gear. While browsing, he stumbled upon a job listing, intrigued by what it might offer. Jinwoo, eager to take on the challenge of an A-rank gate, began planning to recruit individuals for the mission. Meanwhile, Go and Woo were quietly researching Jinwoo's background. They discovered that, despite his remarkable abilities, Jinwoo had recently taken on a mining job, which puzzled them. They discussed his activities, wondering about his intentions and what motivated him. At the mining site, Jinwoo spoke with the manager, explaining to the audience that high-level dungeons required a great deal of specialization. He outlined the various teams, strike, mining, and collection, needed to handle different aspects of a dungeon job. After Choi, Hae-in, and the others successfully cleared the magic beasts in an A-rank dungeon, they emerged from the gate. Jinwoo observed them, quietly noting Choi and Hae-in's impressive credentials. Soon, Jinwoo and his team entered the dungeon, and Jinwoo immediately sensed the presence of the A-rank dungeon boss. The desire to face it head-on surged within him, but he focused on the task at hand. While his coworkers carried out their duties, a break was announced. However, Jinwoo, unwilling to rest just yet, insisted on finishing his current task before taking a break. Once his coworkers left, Jinwoo set out alone toward the A-rank dungeon boss's location. As he approached the boss's chamber, he realized that killing the boss was not a necessity, but that didn't stop him from feeling the intense urge to fight it. Just as he was about to make his move, Hae-in appeared and stopped him, asking what his intentions were. Hae-in firmly instructed Jinwoo to move away from the gate, fearing that his actions might anger the dungeon boss and put the mining team in danger. Before he left, Hae-in caught a subtle scent of Jinwoo and quickly realized that he was, in fact, a hunter. After checking his ID, she allowed him to go without further confrontation. Jinwoo regrouped with the miners, who explained that Hae-in had always protected them from the A-rank dungeon boss. They also revealed an interesting detail about her. She was particularly sensitive to certain hunter scents due to her unique constitution. This was why she always covered her nose with a handkerchief when in the presence of hunters. As Jinwoo reflected on his encounter with Hae-in, he realized something peculiar. He didn't have a distinct hunter scent. After a moment of contemplation, he concluded that this was likely because he was the player, an individual with a unique nature separate from the typical hunter. Later, a miner handed Jinwoo his payment for the job and offered him the chance to work with their team again. Jinwoo initially declined, but the miner managed to sway him by mentioning upcoming A and C rank raid missions. To sweeten the deal, the miner promised to speak with his boss about doubling Jinwoo's pay if he stayed on for just one more day. Jinwoo agreed. Meanwhile, Hae-in made a discreet phone call, clearly intrigued by her earlier encounter. She requested information on Jinwoo, hoping to learn more about him. However, the person on the other end informed her that Jinwoo's records were sealed, completely inaccessible. After hanging up the phone, Hae-in sat in thought, reflecting on her brief but memorable encounter with Jinwoo. She quietly admitted to herself that Jinwoo was the first person she had ever met who had a pleasant scent. The next day, Jinwoo rejoined the miners to complete the job he had agreed to help with. During a break, while the team rested, Captain Sun Ki-hoon arrived and greeted Jinwoo and the miners. Ki-hoon asks to borrow a miner to help carry luggage during a raid, offering a risk allowance in return. Jinwoo accepts the offer and joins Ki-hoon and his assault team in an A-rank dungeon. Ki-hoon, not yet an official captain, hopes to earn the title after completing the mission. The group is first attacked by jackal-type magic beasts, which they manage to defeat. Soon after, a stronger wave of high orcs overwhelms them. Using his stealth, Jinwoo secretly helps turn the tide. After the battle, one team member questions their unexpected victory, leaving the group suspicious. One team member reveals she sensed Jinwoo's stealth ability during the battle but vows to keep it secret out of gratitude for saving them. Ki-hoon's teammates urge him to retreat, and the group heads back to the dungeon's entrance. There, a team member identifies a powerful barrier placed by a high-level entity and begins working to remove it. Before she can finish, the boss's overwhelming magic presence is felt nearby. The barrier remover and several others are injured in the sudden surge of power. As they turn back, Ki-hoon's group and Jinwoo spot 50 high orcs blocking their path. Their leader, Kargalgan, introduces himself as the one who sealed the dungeon. He offers Ki-hoon a choice: face him or die. Ki-hoon agrees to meet him, and Kargalgan retreats with his forces. Ki-hoon then asks Jinwoo to escape the dungeon and bring reinforcements while the team distracts the high orcs. One of Ki-hoon's allies gives Jinwoo a brief will, asking him to deliver it to her family. He solemnly accepts. Meanwhile, Hae-in visits the mining site and questions a worker about Jinwoo's location. The worker explains that Jinwoo volunteered as a porter for Ki-hoon's assault team and confirms he entered the nearby A-rank dungeon. Hae-in borrows a weapon from a miner, determined to investigate the nearby A-rank dungeon. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, Jinwoo and Ki-hoon's group find themselves surrounded by Kargalgan's high orc army. Kargalgan taunts Ki-hoon's group and Jinwoo, expressing his desire to kill, torment, and devour them for the amusement of his troops. Ki-hoon charges at Kargalgan but is quickly overpowered by Kargalgan's magic and gravity powers, sustaining injuries in the process. Jinwoo steps in to save Ki-hoon, urging him to escape the dungeon with the others while he handles Kargalgan and his army. Summoning his shadow army, Jinwoo prepares for the upcoming battle. Woo and his team arrive at the A-rank dungeon, where a miner informs him that Jinwoo took a porter job with Ki-hoon and entered the dungeon. The miner also mentions that Hae-in entered earlier. Just as Woo prepares to enter, a strange aura passes by him and his group. Meanwhile, Hae-in surveys the dead high orcs around her, grabs her pickaxe, and heads toward Kargalgan's location. Jinwoo enhances his shadow army's strength using a new magic skill, and the battle between his army and Kargalgan's forces ensues. Jinwoo attempts to approach Kargalgan but is pushed back by Kargalgan's magic, which also decimates his army. Kargalgan, realizing that Jinwoo and his shadow army were overwhelming his forces, ordered his generals to join the fight. However, even they were no match for Jinwoo's elite shadows. In the background, Ki-hoon's group considered joining the battle, but Kargalgan cast a spell to prevent the audience from interfering. He also attempted to cripple Jinwoo by casting a curse to shut down his senses, but Jinwoo's immunity to abnormal status effects kicked in. Smirking, Jinwoo reminded Kargalgan of his earlier claim that they were a terrible matchup. Then, he commanded his shadow mage to shatter Kargalgan's irritating barrier. Moments later, Hae-in arrived on the battlefield. She was stunned by what she saw. Mage-type hunters who specialize in summoning magic typically manage one or two beasts at most, Yet Jinwoo commanded an entire army. Ki-hoon's group noticed their vice guild master's arrival. Hae-in quickly checked on them, but they were just as confused about the situation. Realizing the danger, she urged them to retreat immediately as Jinwoo and Kargalgan's battle raged on. Moments later, the surveillance team arrived at the battlefield. Confused by the scene, they asked what was happening, and Hae-in explained that the beasts had been summoned by the hunter, Sung Jin-Woo. Woo Jinchul added that he had come to support the strike squad after detecting intense mana waves from the gate, but it seemed Jinwoo didn't need any help as he was handling the A-rank dungeon alone. Meanwhile, Jinwoo defeated Kargalgan and added him to his growing shadow army. Both Ki-hoon's group and the surveillance team were stunned by Jinwoo's power. After absorbing the shadows of the high orcs, Woo Jinchul approached Jinwoo, surprising him. He hadn't realized Woo and Hae-in were watching. Even Ki-hoon's group was shocked that someone they thought was just a porter possessed such strength. Woo and his team stepped forward, declaring that the Hunters Association would protect Jinwoo's identity, which was now classified. They warned everyone present not to speak of what they had witnessed. Ki-hoon then thanked Jinwoo for saving their lives and promised not to question why he had posed as a porter. After returning a will he had been entrusted with, Jinwoo exited the dungeon with the surveillance team, while Hae-in silently watched him leave. At the Hunters Guild building, Mr. Choi was stunned to learn that Jinwoo had joined one of their raids as a porter. His subordinate explained that Jinwoo likely had no intention of interfering, but with the boss being no ordinary magic beast, Jinwoo must have felt compelled to step in. Impressed by Jinwoo's abilities, Mr. Choi asked how he compared in strength. His subordinate responded with a pointed question. Could you clear a top-level A-rank dungeon alone? That response left Mr. Choi speechless, realizing his title of Ultimate Hunter now felt meaningless. Determined, they decided to recruit Jinwoo at any cost. Elsewhere, in a car, actor-turned-hunter Lee Min-sung fantasized about making headlines after his recent awakening. Meanwhile, outside the Hunter Association building, the media swarmed as Choi Jong-in and Baek Yeon-ho arrived. Assuming they were there for Min-sung, reporters were surprised when Choi clarified they had come for someone else. Both Choi and Baek admitted that their guilds had received help from Jinwoo and felt it was only right to try recruiting him. As the two argued over who deserved to bring Jinwoo in, Lim Tae-gyu, the Fiend Guild Master, arrived and asked if they were fighting over Lee Min-sung. Both immediately shouted that they couldn't care less about him. Unaware, Min-sung believed all the attention was for him and stepped out of his car, greeted by flashing cameras. In the background, Jinwoo watched the crowd, wondering what all the commotion was about. As Jinwoo tried to walk through the crowd, a guard stopped him. Jinwoo explained he had an appointment, but the guard told him to leave as the entrance was currently blocked. Watching this, Lee Min-sung scoffed, wondering who the moron was and wishing security would just throw him out. Suddenly, Chairman Go appeared and questioned the guard about who gave the order to stop Jinwoo, stating that Jinwoo was his guest. The chairman personally invited Jinwoo inside, leaving the press buzzing with curiosity about who Jinwoo was and why the chairman was escorting him. Trying to reclaim attention, Min-sung told the press he'd be back after a meeting with the association. But before he could enter, the surveillance team stopped him, explaining that the building was closed for a re-evaluation in progress. Inside, as Jinwoo walked with Chairman Go, Choi Jong-in and Baek Yeon-ho respectfully bowed. The chairman mentioned they had been waiting for over an hour. In the evaluation room, the staff asked Jinwoo about his abilities. When he demonstrated his summoning skill, both the staff and Chairman Go were shocked. Upon being asked if he could summon beasts, the chairman followed up by asking if that was all he could summon. Realizing it was pointless to hide it now, Jinwoo summoned his army of shadow soldiers, leaving everyone stunned. Even outside the room, Choi and Baek could feel the overwhelming pressure of Jinwoo's power. Jinwoo calmly stated he could summon around 100 more high-ranking shadows. Baek was stunned. This wasn't the same Jinwoo he had seen before. The leap in strength was overwhelming. As Jinwoo was about to leave, Baek asked for a moment of his time, but Jinwoo replied that he had unfinished business to attend to. When he opened the door to exit, Choi and Baek advised against going that way. Ignoring the warning, Jinwoo stepped outside, only to be hit by a barrage of camera flashes, leaving him surprised and wondering what was going on. Meanwhile, at school, Gina was surprised to learn that her brother was on TV. The mining team also saw the news, which quickly spread, even reaching Gino's father. Curious, He asked Jinho if he had succeeded in recruiting Jinwoo. Jinho apologized, explaining that he hadn't been able to convince him. However, he added that Jinwoo planned to form his own guild and had invited Jinho to be the vice guild master. Surprisingly, Jinho's father smiled and revealed his intention to create the Yujin Guild to protect their family, and said he wanted Jinho to lead it. Grateful, Jinho respectfully declined, stating that he had decided to join Jinwoo's guild instead. Back at the Hunter Association, Beck offered to help Jinwoo escape the press and take him home. But in an instant, Jinwoo vanished. Choi was stunned by how someone with mage-type abilities could move so swiftly. Beck, equally amazed, realized Jinwoo had become far stronger than before, so fast that even his eyes couldn't follow. He began to suspect that Jinwoo wasn't simply reawakened but might be a hunter who could continue to grow stronger, beyond the limits of rank. At the hospital, Wang Dongsu watched the news in disbelief. Jinwoo, now an S-rank hunter, was alive. He could hardly believe it. Meanwhile, Jinwoo was shopping for a fire-resistant artifact. A staff member guided him to a room filled with high-end items, then another led him to a section where he could select a dagger. Back at the White Tiger Guild, Baek Yonho was still reflecting on Jinwoo's rapid growth. During his enlightened state, he could accurately assess others' strength, and he clearly remembered Jinwoo being weaker when they met at the Red Gate. But now, that was no longer the case. Beck felt foolish for ever thinking someone as powerful as Jinwoo would choose to join another's guild instead of forming his own. News of Sung Jin-Woo's incredible leap from E rank to S rank sent shockwaves through the hunter world, igniting a frenzy among recruiters. Reporters quickly swarmed outside Jinwoo's home, eager for a glimpse of the newly awakened powerhouse. Not long after, Jinho arrived at Jinwoo's place in tears, revealing that his father had kicked him out. Just as he asked if he could stay with Jinwoo for a while, Jinwoo wordlessly shut the door in his face. Back at the Yujin group residence, Jinho's mother questioned whether her husband had been too harsh. He replied that if Jinho truly wanted to succeed, he should have carved his own path. Instead, he chose to follow someone else. Mid-sentence, he suddenly felt dizzy, his wife's face blurring before his eyes, and collapsed to the floor. Back at his home, Jinwoo summoned 3 shadow soldiers to guard his sister and stationed several more throughout the neighborhood to patrol the area. His small way of contributing to society. He then returned to the Demon's Castle dungeon, now equipped with the fire-resistant gear he had recently purchased. Without delay, he teleported to the 76th floor and began fighting the demons. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Jino's father, Yu Myungan, woke up after being unconscious for 2 days. When he asked the doctor what had happened, the doctor responded with a question. Had he ever heard of eternal slumber? He explained that the condition causes increasing drowsiness, eventually leading to a permanent sleep. It typically affects those exposed to mana for extended periods. Stunned, Yu Myungan struggled to accept that he had fallen victim to nature's course. He had always believed he couldn't lose. But despite the diagnosis, he firmly declared that he hadn't lost yet. Elsewhere, on an island off the coast of Japan, a living ant monster successfully made landfall. While 2 low-ranked hunters, an E rank and a D rank, were exploring the island, they suddenly encountered the terrifying presence of a monster ant standing right in front of them. Meanwhile, in the Demon's Castle dungeon, Jinwoo had reached the 80th floor much faster than expected. 2 days had passed without the entry permit appearing, leading him to suspect that stronger demons were still hiding somewhere on the floor. Suddenly, Jinwoo felt his mana draining rapidly, an alarming sign that his shadow soldiers were being destroyed in large numbers. With no other choice, he recalled them. Formulating a plan, Jinwoo took cover while positioning his remaining shadow beasts at the front to lure out the enemy. Moments later, a demon noble appeared, flanked by 3 demon knights. They began ruthlessly tearing through Jinwoo's shadows. Realizing his summons were no match, Jinwoo emerged from hiding and swiftly took down the 3 demon knights. Now alone, the demon noble trembled in fear as Jinwoo stared her down, his eyes glowing, and a smirk playing across his face. The remaining demon launched a flurry of attacks, aiming for all of Jinwoo's vital points, but none landed. In a flash, Jinwoo broke her weapon and grabbed her by the face. Just as he was about to finish her off, the demon suddenly surrendered. Removing her mask, Jinwoo was surprised to discover the demon was a woman. She pleaded for mercy, but Jinwoo coldly pointed out that he had already killed everyone else. Unbothered, She replied that her knights would be satisfied as long as she remained alive. That response made Jinwoo pause. He found her incredibly selfish. As he turned his back, hesitant to strike down a demon that looked so human, she took it as an opportunity and lunged at him with a hidden blade. But his shadow intercepted the attack instantly. Jinwoo, unfazed, asked what she thought she was doing. The demon girl immediately dropped to her knees, bowed her head, and begged for her life, promising to give him anything he wanted in return. Intrigued, Jinwoo demanded an entry permit. She told him her clan had one in their possession and offered to take him there. She even claimed to know the locations of all the other floor permits. If he promised to protect her and her clan, she would become his guide. Jinwoo leaned in close, his face inches from hers, and asked with a serious expression, "Can I trust you?" Trembling under the weight of his presence, she felt his bloodlust and quickly responded, "I'm not lying." Meanwhile, on the island, the monster ant began devouring the humans it encountered, growing stronger with each victim it consumed. Back in the demon's castle, the demon girl finally introduced herself to Jinwoo. Her name was Essel, the eldest daughter of the Radiru clan. The Hunter Association obtained a black box recording from the island and reviewed footage of the monster ant. Upon analyzing its strength, they concluded that it would take at least one A-rank hunter to defeat a single mutant ant. After the meeting, Wu quietly informed Chairman Go that they had received a call from a national-level hunter. Meanwhile, Essel led Jinwoo to her clan's castle. She informed her father that she had brought a guest. With his sharp senses, her father immediately sensed the presence of a vast army of shadow soldiers hidden behind Jinwoo. Alarmed, the guards surrounded Jinwoo with their swords drawn. Jinwoo calmly explained that he had promised Essel he would leave peacefully if she handed over the entry permit. Realizing Jinwoo had defeated powerful figures like Vulcan and Metis, Essel's father understood they stood no chance against him. Jinwoo then stated that he'd like to borrow Essel for a while, as she claimed to know the locations of the remaining entry permits on the upper floors. To reach them, he would need her guidance. Essel's father invited Jinwoo to share a meal to discuss the entry permit and the matter of Essel acting as his guide. He asked Jinwoo if he could guarantee Essel's safety. Jinwoo assured him, giving his word. Satisfied, Essel's father handed over the permit, granting Jinwoo access to the 81st floor of the demon's castle. After receiving it, Jinwoo asked Essel if they could leave immediately. When she nodded, a system message appeared. A demon noble has requested to join your party. Meanwhile, at the Hunter Association, a national-level American hunter arrived seeking Sung Jin-Woo's location. The staff informed him that the surveillance team had lost track of Jinwoo. As the hunter stood to leave, he remarked that he would have helped with the Jeju Island raid if South Korea could afford to hire someone of his caliber. Chairman Go sighed, disappointed by the lack of support. But Wu reassured him, revealing that Japan had agreed to cooperate, and a top hunter from Japan's largest guild was scheduled to visit later that day. Back at the demon's castle, Jinwoo leveled up after defeating the demon knights and a demon noble. Also, his shadow soldiers has been promoted to higher ranks. Jinwoo shared to Essel that they are on the 89th floor now, so Essel told him that starting with the 90th floor, the top noble clans manage each floor. She added that they are significantly stronger than the high-ranking nobles. Unfazed, Jinwoo responded that he will make the Radiru clan number 1. Puzzled, Essel asked Jinwoo why is he looking out for her clan. Jinwoo answered Essel that it's because he have taken a liking to her. At Incheon International Airport, Japanese S-rank hunter Goto Ryuji arrived with his interpreter and met directly with Chairman Go. Goto pledged Japan's full support and proposed forming a joint elite strike force composed of top hunters from both countries. Their plan was simple. If they could eliminate the Ant Queen, the rest of the colony on Jeju Island would collapse within a year. Goto revealed that 10 of Japan's 11 S-rank hunters, including himself, would join the raid. They would handle the main swarm while Korea's top hunters focused on defeating the Queen. Chairman Go considered Korea's limited resources, only 8 S-rank hunters, with 2 unavailable. He realized their best hope was if Sung Jin-Woo joined the mission. After reviewing Goto's proposal, Chairman Go agreed to respond once the details were fully assessed. On the other side, Jinwoo and Essel finally reached the 100th floor, where they were met by the Demon King, Baron, who appeared riding a massive wyvern. The sheer force of Baron's presence made Jinwoo pause. He wondered whether he could truly defeat such a powerful foe. The battle began, but Jinwoo struggled to land a hit while Baron remained airborne on his wyvern. Sensing the disadvantage, one of Jinwoo's shadow mages unleashed a powerful fire spell. The blast struck the wyvern directly, sending it crashing to the ground and leveling the playing field for Jinwoo. Jinwoo and Baron clashed fiercely, exchanging powerful blows with their weapons. But when Baron unleashed a devastating energy blast from his mouth, Jinwoo crossed his twin blades to block it. The force of the attack was too strong. His swords were blasted out of his hands. Baron seized the opportunity to strike, and with no weapons left, Jinwoo was forced to grab Baron's arms to hold him back. As Baron opened his mouth again to fire another deadly blast, Essel suddenly intervened. She hurled her weapon straight at Baron's face, interrupting his attack. Distracted, Baron glanced toward Essel for just a moment, long enough for Jinwoo to act. He activated Commander's Touch, severing Baron's arms with a precise move. Then, with a final, crushing uppercut, Jinwoo shattered Baron's jaw and obliterated his head, ending the Demon King once and for all. With a grin, Jinwoo turned to Essel and told her to inform her father that the Radish clan was now number 1. Still breathless and in disbelief, Essel corrected him, "It's the Radiru clan." After defeating Baron, Jinwoo collected his rewards and discovered the purified blood of the Demon King. With this final ingredient, he crafted the Holy Water of Life, a powerful item he hoped could cure his mother's long-standing illness. Soon after, iron dragged over the wyvern's corpse, and Jinwoo extracted its shadow, transforming it into one of his elite soldiers. He named the wyvern Kaisel. Additionally, Jinwoo obtained a rune stone containing the shadow exchange skill, which allowed him to instantly swap places with one of his shadow soldiers, with a 3-hour cooldown. Using the new skill, Jinwoo teleported back to his neighborhood, leaving Essel behind. He then took to the skies atop Kaisel, soaring under the bright night sky. Elsewhere, at the Hunters Association, Chairman Go and Woo were discussing the aftermath of the monster ant incident when Go suddenly felt a strange sensation. At the same time, inside a tent, Beck and Byung-ji-yu, an S-rank healer, also sensed something unusual. When Beck asked what it was, Byung-ji-yu casually joked that Hae-in and Choi were probably fighting over their guild shares again. Byung-ji-yu asked Beck if he was truly serious about joining the Jeju Island raid, reminding him of how their friend Yunsuk had died during the last attempt. Beck responded firmly, saying that Yunsuk's death was all the more reason to go. If they didn't deal with the ants now, many more lives would be lost. Byung-ji-yu sighed, saying that if Beck was trying to recruit him, he'd come to the wrong person. But Beck gently replied that he wasn't there to convince him. He just wanted to say goodbye, in case this was the last chance they'd ever get to see each other. Meanwhile, Jinwoo arrived at the hospital where his mother lay unconscious. With trembling hands, he took out the holy water of life and carefully poured it into her mouth. For a tense moment, his mother began to stir and raised herself from the bed. Overwhelmed with emotion, tears streamed down Jinwoo's face as he witnessed the miracle he had fought so hard for. Gina arrived at the hospital and immediately burst into tears upon seeing her mother awake. She ran to her and embraced her tightly. Watching the heartfelt reunion, Jinwoo felt a deep sense of fulfillment. All his efforts had finally paid off. While checking his phone, Jinwoo received a call from Chairman Go, who asked to meet in person. During their meeting, Chairman Go informed Jinwoo that they were organizing a mission to Jeju Island to exterminate the remaining monster ants, and he asked for Jinwoo's help to make it succeed. As Jinwoo considered the request, thoughts of his family crossed his mind. But before he could reply, he suddenly sensed an intense surge of mana. Chairman Go chuckled, explaining that the S-rank hunters, both Korean and Japanese, were likely warming up in the gym. Intrigued, Jinwoo followed Chairman Go to the training area. There, they watched Beck and Dong-wook sparring. Moments later, Choi Jong-in entered and greeted Jinwoo warmly. Down below, the Japanese hunters were discussing Sung Jin-Woo, who had recently risen to S-rank. Goto speculated that Jinwoo must be an extraordinary assassin-type hunter. However, his interpreter corrected him, explaining that Jinwoo was actually classified as a mage type. Goto was skeptical, but she assured him it had been officially confirmed. As they watched the Korean hunters spar, the interpreter commented dismissively that, if these were South Korea's strongest hunters, then their standards were quite low. Her remark didn't go unnoticed. Park Jong-soo, an A-rank hunter and master of the Knights Guild, approached her after overhearing the insult. The two exchanged sharp words before the interpreter introduced herself as Hanakawa, also an A-rank hunter from Japan. To settle things, they agreed to a friendly match on the sparring stage. The rule was simple. Whoever grabbed the other's wrist first would be declared the winner. The match began with Hanakawa on the offensive, throwing swift and precise strikes while Jongsu calmly dodged. Just as she moved in to finish it, Jongsu countered with lightning reflexes and seized her wrist, claiming victory in an instant. Goto thanked Jongsu for the entertaining match and smiled, suggesting they take it a step further by having their S-rank hunters spar under the same rules. Chairman Go agreed to the idea but proposed a small change. Mage-type and non-combatant hunters should be excluded, as it would be hard to determine a clear winner in those cases. Beck chimed in and recommended refining the rules. A match could be won by touching the opponent's wrist or back, or by knocking them down. Goto agreed to the updated conditions. With the stage set, both sides selected their fighters. Team Korea: Beck, Hae-in, Tae-gyu, and Dong-wook. Team Japan: Kenzo, Minoru, Atsushi, and Kanae. The tension rose as the strongest hunters from both nations prepared to put their skills to the test. Kenzo defeated Dong-wook, and Minoru bested Tae-gyu. The three Japanese hunters surrounded Beck, while Hae-in, too fast for Kanae, tagged her and rushed to assist. Just as Hae-in was about to move, Atsushi appeared behind her to strike, but she instinctively unleashed a flurry of punches, stunning the crowd with her speed, earning comparisons to a Gatling gun. Though it wasn't intentional, Atsushi lost control. Known to become irrational and forgetful when enraged, his shift alarmed Hanakawa, who suggested stopping him. Goto, however, chose to observe, calling it a test. As Atsushi was about to land a hit, a powerful shockwave stopped him. Jinwoo had intervened. When Atsushi tried to retaliate, Jinwoo swiftly subdued him. Jinwoo then advised Hae-in to forfeit the match, as Beck had already been caught. She agreed. With rising tension, Goto approached Jinwoo, proposing a one-on-one fight. Jinwoo smiled, seeing this as a chance to test how much stronger he had become since the demon's castle. Meanwhile, Goto was irritated by Jinwoo's confidence, especially when Jinwoo added a condition. He would accept the challenge only if Goto used his full strength. Goto agreed and instructed Shimizu to stand by to heal the injured, confidently pointing at Jinwoo, claiming he'd be the one needing help soon. As Jinwoo began to speak, Goto suddenly struck, his hand already inches from Jinwoo's face, but missed. Shocked, Goto couldn't believe how easily Jinwoo dodged. In his mind, Jinwoo's agility and silent steps contradicted the assumption that he was a mage-type hunter. Jinwoo continued to dodge with ease, smiling, which only fueled Goto's frustration. Japanese hunters began to realize Goto was fighting seriously and debated stopping the match. Korean hunters were wary of Goto's dangerous attacks but noticed Jinwoo holding his own. Frustrated and rattled, Goto decided to go all out, with lethal intent. A system alert warned Jinwoo of a nearby enemy with murderous intent. Smiling, Jinwoo grabbed Goto's hand. Goto asked if he was toying with him, to which Jinwoo calmly replied that if he had grabbed his wrist, the fight would have been over. Both prepared to unleash their full power, but before they could clash, Korean hunters restrained Jinwoo while Japanese hunters held Goto back. Kei erected an ice wall between them, ending the confrontation. Jinwoo now had a good sense of everyone's strength. Despite their S-rank power, none of them, including Goto, had noticed the shadow soldiers hidden beneath Jinwoo's feet. As tension lingered, Hanakawa called Goto's name. Goto, visibly sweating, looked truly shaken. Beck came to a realization. A hunter who can truly grow stronger exists. Just then, his phone buzzed with the newly released list of hunters for the upcoming raid, and to his surprise, Sung Jin-Woo's name wasn't on it. Elsewhere, Goto called Sugimoto to talk about a highly skilled South Korean hunter. When Sugimoto checked the official list, he confirmed that Jinwoo wasn't among the names submitted by Korea. Goto found it absurd, saying Chairman Go would be crazy to exclude someone as powerful as Jinwoo. Sugimoto reassured him that with 16 S-rank hunters participating, there was no need for concern. Meanwhile, on the ant island, the queen ant declared they must abandon their land, as food was scarce and her offspring had begun consuming one another. To survive, they needed a supreme soldier to lead them, someone who would strike fear into their enemies. She commanded her child to grow stronger and devour everything in its path. Back in the city, Jinho showed Jinwoo a spacious office, suggesting it could be used for their future guild. Jinwoo thought it was too large for just the two of them. Jinho explained that to establish a guild, they needed at least 3 people, a guild master, a vice master, and 1 employee, meaning they still needed 1 more recruit. He also mentioned a foreigner was trying to reach Jinwoo and had asked for a callback. The next day, a helicopter carrying the raid team headed for Jeju Island. As Goto clutched his phone with a trembling hand, memories of his fight with Jinwoo flooded back, and with them, a chilling sense that he had come face to face with death. High-class destroyers were deployed along the coasts of China, Taiwan, and near Jeju Island, forming a defensive line north of Jeju. Their mission was to intercept and eliminate any flying ants attempting to reach the mainland. The raid force included 5,000 individuals, 10% of South Korea's 50,000 awakened beings. A news agency cameraman was also aboard the helicopter to document the operation. Baek was surprised to see healer Byung Ji-yu among them, who simply joked that Baek would be the first to die without his support. Meanwhile, Goto and the Japanese S-rank hunters took their positions and released a wave of powerful mana. In response, a massive swarm of ants emerged from their nest. Some of them targeted the helicopter, but Choi incinerated the flying ants with fire magic before leaping out, followed by the other Korean S-rank hunters. Aboard one of the ships, Sugimoto ordered the activation of jamming signals, preventing the ant monsters from hearing the Queen's call for help. As the Japanese hunters dealt with enemies outside, Choi cast a flame prison at the lair's entrance, blocking B-rank and lower ants from entering. The Korean hunters advanced inside, discovering a spawning ground filled with ant eggs. Just as Choi prepared to burn them all, Hae-in noticed one unusually large hatched egg. Byung Ji-yu speculated it might be a royal guard, but Baek reminded them their main target was the Queen and advised ignoring everything else. Outside, Shimizu Akari commented on Kenzo's battered state. He had taken out about 30 flying ants but had injuries to his shoulder and waist. Akari playfully offered to heal him, for a price. Annoyed, Kenzo told her to get on with it. As he looked up at the approaching ants and urged her to hurry, Akari's head was suddenly severed in an instant. Before Kenzo could react, he too was killed. Tatsumi, now alone, charged at the enemy with his sword, but was eliminated just as swiftly. Concerned after losing contact with Team Charlie, a group of Japanese hunters went to investigate. Upon arrival, they found signs of a fierce battle and were stunned to see Fujishima's broken glasses. Scattered nearby were the lifeless bodies of their comrades. Despite wearing a mask, Kei was overwhelmed by a foul stench so unbearable it made him vomit, something unlike anything he'd ever smelled. Suddenly, a powerful aura of bloodlust approached. Reacting quickly, Kei unleashed a barrage of massive ice spikes. But to his horror, the enemy shattered them effortlessly and wiped them out in an instant. Inside the ant lair, the Korean hunters realized they'd spent too much time fighting the elite ants. Hae-in mentioned she could sense a scent that likely belonged to the Queen, and believed the Queen was still guarded. To confirm, Baek used his ability to scout ahead and identified the Queen's location, as well as the number of guards protecting her. As they advanced, Dungwook told Hae-in he'd take on the Queen while she handled the guards. Choi, usually reserved with his mana, said it would be a waste not to go all out today. When an ant attempted to ambush Choi, Tae-gyu stepped in and eliminated it. Inspired by the rising intensity, Baek unleashed his beast form and began tearing through the giant ants without restraint. Still shaken, the cameraman was urged by his boss to move closer for a better shot. But Byung Ji-yu grabbed him, warning that no one would be responsible for his life out there. With the Queen's guards defeated, the Korean hunters launched a coordinated assault on the Queen. After enduring heavy damage, she was near death. Victory seemed within reach. But suddenly, she let out a deafening roar. It felt like a call, a desperate summons. Outside the lair, they saw the ants abruptly shift direction, now swarming toward the tunnels. Choi's flame prison had been destroyed. Realizing they were being surrounded, the team prepared to retreat. Then, everything froze. A terrifying presence filled the air, paralyzing them with sheer pressure. From the darkness, a monstrous figure emerged, letting out a roar so powerful that Baek questioned how one creature could possess such overwhelming strength. Hae-in dropped to her knees, covering her nose as the beast slowly approached. The pressure of its presence was overwhelming. She couldn't believe a single creature could emit such a menacing aura. Each step it took sent chills down their spines. The beast moved toward the Queen's corpse and roared in fury. The sheer force of its rage made the Korean hunters collapse, paralyzed by its intensity. Locking eyes with Hei-in, the beast suddenly vanished, only to reappear behind her and land a devastating punch. The blow hurled her into the wall, blood spilling from her mouth. Next, the beast turned to Dongwick, severing both of his arms in a flash. Baek and Choi were also struck, Baek's chest slashed open, and Choi suffering critical injuries. Meanwhile, Tae-gyu, thinking he had a clear shot, loosed an arrow. But the beast caught it midair and crushed it, then delivered a brutal punch to Tae-gyu's face. Dongwick, seemingly down, launched a surprise counterattack that pushed the beast back. Smiling, he revealed that his arms had been healed by Byung-ji-yu, who had been hidden nearby using his skill disguise, which erased all traces of his presence. While the skill rendered him immobile, it allowed him to heal undetected until now. To everyone's horror, the beast sensed Byung-ji-yu despite the skill still being active. It appeared behind him and drove its hand through Byung-gu's back. Baek, battered and on his knees, could only scream Byung-gu's name as he watched helplessly. With a faint voice, Byung-ji-yu called out Baek's name and told him to run. But before Baek could react, the beast bit down and devoured Byung-gu's head, leaving the others in stunned silence. Consumed by rage, Baek launched himself at the monster, only to be caught by the neck. As the beast lifted him, it began to speak. It explained that by consuming its prey, it not only gained their life, but also their strength and memories. It then asked Baek a cryptic question: "Who is your king?" Before Baek could respond, the beast sensed something powerful outside the cave and flew off. Outside, Goto and the remaining Japanese hunters were investigating the loss of contact with teams Charlie and Delta. Only Team Bravo remained in communication. Upon reaching the other team's assigned area, they discovered the corpses of their allies. Reporting back to headquarters, Goto was asked about the South Korean team's chances of survival. With a grim expression, he said, "0." His superior responded coldly, suggesting a news headline. Despite their best efforts, the Japanese hunters were forced to retreat after the tragic fall of the South Korean raid team. He then added that their true goal, the annihilation of South Korea's S-rank hunters, had been achieved. He ordered Goto to withdraw. But before they could escape, the beast arrived in a blur of motion. Goto managed to block the initial attack, but Ishida wasn't as lucky. Her head was severed in an instant. Goto then ordered Minoru to join Team Bravo, saying he would only be a hindrance here. Facing the beast, Goto remarked on its overwhelming presence. The beast asked him if he was the king. Surprised that the creature could speak, Goto smirked and answered, "Yes, I am." The beast responded with a deafening roar and unleashed a wave of crushing magical energy. Goto staggered, overwhelmed by its strength. It reminded him of the pressure he once felt when facing Jinwoo. In the next moment, his sword shattered and his head hit the ground, lifeless. Inside the cave, the South Korean hunters were struggling to hold their ground. Wounded and exhausted, each of them had sustained serious injuries. Among them, Choi stood as their last hope, his flames the only thing keeping the swarming ants at bay. But even his fire was beginning to wane. As more ants closed in, Baek stared at the overwhelming numbers, a grim thought crossing his mind. Is this how it all ends? Then, out of nowhere, a shadow soldier appeared, blocking the path of the approaching ants. Far from the island, Jinwoo, sensing the desperate situation through his connection with the shadows, muttered a single word: "Exchange." Jinwoo suddenly appeared on the battlefield with his shadow army, ordering Iron to use Shout of Provocation to draw the ants toward them. He swiftly cut through the swarm while one of his elite shadows protected the South Korean hunters. Confused, Dongwick asked who was fighting, and Baek replied that they seemed to be in good hands. As Jinwoo extracted shadows from the defeated ants, the cameraman, shocked, struggled to explain the situation to his boss, who reminded him that the whole country was watching. Jinwoo then approached the hunters, gave them red potions, and told them to drink. Their wounds healed, but Cha Hae-in remained unconscious due to the severity of her injuries. As her condition worsened, Jinwoo urged everyone to leave before more ants arrived. Suddenly, the beast returned, declaring their king wasn't outside. Shocked, Baek realized this meant Goto Ryuji had been defeated. Jinwoo stepped forward to face the beast, their mana colliding in a tense standoff. 5 minutes ago, the broadcast was cut off, and news agencies reported the death of Byung-ji-yu. They also expressed uncertainty about the survival of the remaining hunters inside the cave. Suddenly, an update came in, An unknown hunter had appeared on the battlefield, and live coverage resumed. Viewers were stunned to see Jinwoo join the fight. On the battlefield, the beast launched a powerful punch at Jinwoo, causing a massive explosion. Choi remarked that a mage should never get so close to the enemy, while Beck thought Jinwoo had underestimated the beast and got hit. But as the smoke cleared, Jinwoo stood unharmed, as if nothing had happened. He then activated the commander's touch, forcing the beast to kneel, and countered with a punch that sent it crashing into the rocks. Amazed, Dungwick asked if they were sure Jinwoo was really a mage-type hunter. Beck admitted he always knew Jinwoo was powerful, but never imagined he was this strong. Unable to match Jinwoo's strength, the beast resorted to using a hidden weapon to scratch Jinwoo's face, inflicting him with paralysis poison. As the beast approached, commending Jinwoo for his efforts and preparing to strike the final blow, Jinwoo suddenly grabbed his arm and punched him. The poison had already been neutralized. Jinwoo was resistant. Realizing brute force was useless, the beast shrank his form to focus on speed, believing it was his only advantage. He launched rapid attacks, but Jinwoo not only dodged them, he moved even faster. As they clashed, Jinwoo dealt serious damage to the beast's exoskeleton, convinced he could now end the fight. Jinwoo unleashed a flurry of attacks, forcing the beast to retreat. But Jinwoo pursued relentlessly, severing its wings and an arm. In desperation, the beast roared to summon his ant army, but Jinwoo simply smiled and summoned his elite shadows, who swiftly wiped out the reinforcements. Knowing he couldn't win, the beast attempted to flee, but Jinwoo used Commander's touch to slam him to the ground and finished the battle by slicing him into pieces.